Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. This is Stinchfield, the podcast. I want to advise all of my MAGA friends, calm down. Everything is going to be fine. President Trump is not going to start an endless war. President Trump is going to keep us safe. We've got to stand by President Trump, stand strong with President Trump, because he has stood by us, and it's time we trust President Trump. Peace through strength. And sometimes that strength means using a bunker buster. We will see if we get to that point or not, or whether or not President Trump lets Israel continue to do its thing and go after the Iran nuclear facilities. But here's the deal. World War III is not starting. I want everyone to take a deep breath on this. We are not putting boots on the ground in Iran. There is no way I see President Trump in a million years doing that. And the reality is China and Russia are not going to side with Iran. And the proof is a phone call President Trump had with Vladimir Putin yesterday, and he talked about it today. I'll play you that clip here in just a moment. So to my MAGA friends, the MAGA meltdown may look real. Tucker Carlson, my very good friend Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jack Posobiec, even Steve Bannon, some of these people that are really on the edge of their seats. Just take a deep breath. President Trump is the biggest gorilla on the face of the earth. Nobody's going to tussle with us. Let him handle business. He has been right about everything and will continue to be right about everything. He deserves our trust. We owe it to him, our trust. So with that, before I get into the program, I want to tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals. Whether or not you think this is going to be World War III or not, I do not think it is going to be World War III. No matter what you think about it, precious metals is a great place to put your money. freegoldguide.com/grant. That's freegoldguide.com/grant. I promise you're not going to regret this. My friends over at Colonial Metals have helped so many of our Rumble viewers secure their finances, protect their portfolio through gold and precious metals, that I want you to at least look at this free gold guide, see what you think. freegoldguide.com/grant, or you can call them at 800-458-7356. That's 800-458-7356. And from that, you'll secure your finances. All right. With that, folks, let's get this show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, interesting developments today. President Trump revealed that he had a phone call with Vladimir Putin, who offered up to help mediate this situation between Iran, the United States, and Israel. What does that tell you? It tells you what I told you all yesterday, that President Trump, I believe, has assurances from both China, Xi Jinping, its leader, and Russia, Vladimir Putin, its leader, that they are not going to get involved with this situation with Iran. Vladimir Putin offering up a mediation deal, funny to say the least, yes, but it proves to me that President Trump is talking with these people. He's not going to get us in an endless war. We are not looking for a regime change in Iran. I don't believe any new regime is going to be any much better than the current regime. It's been 49 years since Iran had a decent regime before it was overturned. I, quite frankly, don't care what happens to Iran. Other than that, I do not want it to have a nuclear bomb. And I believe the most America first thing President Trump can do is ensure that Iran does not get a nuclear bomb. This is President Trump being asked a lot about this today.
Suggestions. I know a lot of people from Iran, from New York, from Washington, mostly from New York. They're incredible people. They're smart. They're energetic. They can be difficult, but so can you. No, they're great people. They're smart people. And those people are getting the hell beat out of them now. And it's really a shame. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's another one. You know, Russia, Ukraine is so stupid. Would have never happened if I was president. You guys agree with that, right? Would have never happened if I was president. Putin would have never done it. And I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, you know, he actually offered to help mediate. I said, do me a favor. Mediate your own. Let's mediate Russia first, okay? I said, Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later. But I think that's going to work out, too. But it's so many people have been killed. The big thing with that one is far more people are dead than have been reported.
All right, so before he goes back into Ukraine, Russia, this idea that he's talking to Vladimir Putin on the phone yesterday, Vladimir Putin offering up the idea to mediate between Iran. Yes, it's somewhat humorous to think of this. But the reality is we all know what President Trump is capable of. He's capable of sending one of those B-52s with a bunker buster to take out that Fordo nuclear facility in the bottom of a mountain. President Trump is most certainly capable of doing it. My estimation is he probably will. Israel says it's got other ways to take out that nuclear facility, Fordo, that again, 300 feet below the surface of that mountain that it's built into. It would take a very powerful bunker buster. I believe the United States has the capabilities for it. So we shall see. But as we go through this, what I'm watching is the MAGA base meltdown. Endless wars, Iraq. Please tell me how this is Iraq. One, is President Trump George Bush? President Trump has promised he was going to take out Iran's nuclear capability since the day he came down the escalator 10 years ago. Nothing's changed on President Trump's front. Why is anybody surprised by this? In fact, this was President Trump 10 years ago.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
So there you go. That's President Trump. 10 years ago, he's been telling us what he's going to do. Why is anyone surprised at this? So President Trump is not George Bush, okay? We were told there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I actually believed them at the time. And I'll make an admission here, okay? I have been saying, this is an admission, I have been saying that Iran is months, if not weeks away from a nuclear weapon. I have been saying this for years. I admit that. I have fallen into the trap that I think maybe I was duped, that they want us to believe Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon in months, weeks, possibly days. This has been amped up, that they're closer than ever before. It may or may not be true. Here's what I can tell you. This is true, that they are working for a nuclear weapon. That, beyond a doubt, is 100% true. And here's what else is 100% true. If they had it, they would use it. Okay? But the difference between Iraq and Iran is I don't think President Trump feels any need to spend American dollars to rebuild Iran, to send boots on the ground, to occupy the nation while we prop up some new regime that has no business running a country. President Trump's not falling for that nonsense. President Trump isn't a neocon. He's not going to be out there to enrich the pockets of defense contractors and builders that are going to go into Iran. That's not his goal. The people of Iran are on their own, which is why President Trump wanted to negotiate and said over and over again, hey, look, negotiate, come to the table. I mean, this was President Trump before the clip I just showed you, but you could see his frustration.
Is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
It's in every neighbor, anything in life you done it. Look at you, right? There's no guarantee.
You think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program, or where's your assessment of that?
Well, I hope their program's going to be wiped out long before then. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Is that anything different than he's been saying on the campaign trail over and over and over again? The answer, my friends, is an unequivocal no. It is not any different. Now, to the point that I told you that this idea they've been talking about a nuclear bomb, which is why I want to lend some credence to my MAGA friends that says, hey, we've been talking about this a long time. But here's what I really worry about. Are they, I can't imagine anybody's pro-Iran that is so worried about the protection of that country. I believe there is an anti-Israel sentiment even in among the Republican Party. We're going to get into Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. I'm not sure what's going on with Tucker Carlson. You know, I'm a fan of his, but I'm not sure what's going on. But I do believe this anti-Israel sentiment is at play here. One of the reasons may be because of this. Now, CNN put this together.
The deadline for attaining this goal is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years. By next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb. The foremost sponsor of global terrorism could be weeks away from having enough enriched uranium for an entire arsenal of nuclear weapons. That would place a militant Islamic terror regime weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year.
So there you have it, folks. When you look at this and you see that for over a decade, well over a decade, we've been told they're weeks away. I can't tell you whether they're weeks away now, days away now, years away now. I can't tell you. I do know they're trying, and I do know the tensions have heightened. And maybe we have to stop talking about whether or not they're going to have a nuclear bomb or not and start talking about what Iran has done to fund global terrorism. Global terrorism that has killed American citizens, global terrorism that is literally waging jihad on, of course, Israel itself. Let's start talking about that because that plays a role in what President Trump needs to do. Again, no boots on the ground. Now, you have warmongers in the United States Senate who want that. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm not arguing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jack Posobiec that say we can't have boots on the ground. We don't want boots on the ground. There are those inside the party that do want boots on the ground. Just remember this. President Trump is not one of those people. I'll play you a couple of those people who are here in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to remind you about my friends over at get20now.com. What a tremendous investment opportunity this is. You get up to 20% annualized interest on your investment, paid out monthly, direct deposited into your bank account. I have made a sizable investment with them. They have lived up to their promises with me every month now for the last, I don't know, maybe it's almost a year. Every month, that money gets direct deposited into the account. What have they done? They've combined data centers and cryptocurrency. They have found a way to mine Bitcoin at a rate far cheaper than anybody else out there can, which allows them to pay you this fabulous interest rate on your investment. They mine it cheaper. They buy the electricity cheaper. They cool the machines in a way that is technologically almost a miracle fashion. And these facilities are nothing short of state of the art. The company's name is NFN8. Go to get20now.com, fill out the form, talk to my buddy Corey there. He's going to call you back directly. And he's a great guy. And again, I know him personally. You're going to talk to one of the leaders of these companies, not just some random salesperson. Get20now.com. That's get20now.com. Cash flow, mailbox money, whatever you want to call it, but it's direct deposit in your account every month. 20% annualized interest I don't think the stock market's offering that up these days. I don't know if anything is. Get20now.com. All right. You want to see who a warmonger is? He looks like this.
So speaking of the supreme leader, the president posted on his Truth Social platform that America knows where he is, that we could, it implied, assassinate him, but we will not for the moment. Do you think the United States should assassinate the supreme leader if they can?
The assassination of any individual and any foreign dignitary or leader on this, but we most certainly need to have regime change in Iran. This is the same regime that's threatened America and Americans. This is the same regime that oppresses their own people, that they use the money that they get from oil money to be able to put towards terrorism, to be able to kill us and our allies. They chant death to America in the streets. We definitely need a new regime there, but that's not necessarily saying that we need to be able to assassinate the Ayatollah as well. But we.
So again, he's calling for a regime change. Now, I want everyone to be very careful. I want everyone to clarify with the people they're talking, lawmakers they're talking to. When they talk about, yes, I'd like to see a regime change. You may even hear President Trump say this, meaning that, you know what, if the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, was gone and a new regime started, fine. The reality is I'm not sure a new regime is going to be any better than this one. So I don't care about a regime change. What I care about is knocking Iran's ability to make a nuclear weapon, knock that back to the Stone Age. I don't want to kill innocent Iranian citizens. I do think they're good people in general. I agree with President Trump. They can be tough to deal with sometimes. I've had to deal with Iranians in business, especially when I was in construction in New York. They're tough negotiators, but they're good people. And they do appreciate freedom, especially coming from the country where they originated. But this is what I'm talking about. You got Langford, and then you got Lindsey Graham.
Can you guarantee that? Can President Trump in any form, can you make the commitment that this would not lead to a longer war?
I can guarantee you that if the Ayatollah gets a nuclear weapon, he will use it. I believe that with all my heart and soul. So the men and women who serve, they're the ones going, not people answering a poll. And if you ask them, would you be willing to risk your life to stop the Ayatollah from having a nuclear weapon? All of them would say yes, because it makes their country, our country, safer. So we live in a world where you've got to confront problems. You want to avoid World War III? Learn the lessons from World War II. People in World War II appeased Hitler to the point that it got so much out of hand, we had a world war and 60 million people got killed. So we live in a world where you pay now or you pay later. Let's stop this threat before he gets a nuclear weapon. Let's end this reign of terror. Let's do it now. It's not going to take 20 months, but I can't guarantee you your freedom and your safety unless we're willing to fight for it. I can guarantee you this. If we don't fight for our freedom, we will lose it.
He is desperate to have the United States military on foreign lands all across the globe. I don't understand this guy. Look, I think you could take a common sense approach to this. I think this is what I'm offering up to you, ladies and gentlemen, that President Trump can go help Israel with bunker busters, air support, whatever it might be, and we can take out the nuclear facilities, that Iran is not going to get the help of China or Russia, and that all will be well in the world with Iran without a nuclear bomb. And then we can drill down our focus on Russia and China. You take Iran off the chessboard, that opens up America's ability to make some other moves in the region, again, to keep us all safe. And it doesn't take boots on the ground to take Iran off the board as a chess piece. It doesn't. The only reason he wants it to is because he wants to enrich his defense contractor friends. That's it. This is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He is basically saying, you know what? We don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb. And he says if Iran had a nuclear bomb, the first thing Saudi Arabia would do was start to try to make one as well.
Iran is not a rival to Saudi Arabia. Its army is not among the top 5 armies in the Muslim world. The Saudi economy is larger than the Iranian economy. Iran is far from being equal to Saudi Arabia.
But I've seen that you called the Ayatollah Khamenei the new Hitler of the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because he wants to expand. He wants to create his own project in the Middle East, very much like Hitler, who wanted to expand at the time. Many countries around the world and in Europe did not realize how dangerous Hitler was until what happened happened. I don't want to see the same events happening in the Middle East.
Does Saudi Arabia need nuclear weapons to counter Iran?
Saudi Arabia does not want to acquire any nuclear bomb. But without a doubt, if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit as soon as possible.
And that's what we don't want to happen. You get countries like Saudi Arabia starting to arm themselves with nuclear weapons, the entire game plan in that region changes. Taking Iran's ability for that out, I believe, is a very, very smart move, and may I say, the right thing to do. All right. Have you seen this situation with Tucker Carlson? This is interesting to me because Tucker Carlson, I can't imagine he's on the side of Iran, but he sounds like he is. Just as I couldn't imagine he was on the side of Russia, though he often comes off as sounding like he is. Now, I'm going to remind all of you, one of the reasons I lost my job at Newsmax was I was refusing to attack Tucker Carlson, okay? I agree with him on many things when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war. They're two corrupt nations. I don't care about either one of them. Quite frankly, let them fight it out. I don't want America involved. That's the extent of my belief in our involvement in Ukraine. I actually believe we need to take more of an involvement in Iran to take out their nukes to keep the world safe, okay? But Tucker Carlson goes after Ted Cruz. Now, Ted Cruz is a decent man. He may not be right on everything, but he's right on most things, okay? I'm not going to say I agree with him on everything, but I can't think of something I don't agree with him on right now. He's one of the better senators in the United States, one of the most conservative. Why are you attacking Ted Cruz? He's not the enemy here. Go after Lindsey Graham. Go after Langford. But this, to me, was hard to watch.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah, how could you not know that? I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about the country. What's the ethnic mix of Iran? They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute. It's not even, you don't know anything about Iran. So actually, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran. You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government. You're the one who claims, know anything about the country. No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, you stand with Tucker Carlson on that and that. Oh, I just don't understand what he's doing. I wonder at times, is this going for clickbait here? Is that what Tucker is going after? Look, the reality is Fox News is the biggest beast in the room when it comes to conservative talk. I understand Rumble is a great platform. I understand my buddy Steve Bannon and War Room and what he was done, and Charlie Kirk and even guys like myself who were certainly making inroads. But I'm here to make an admission to you that Fox News is still the king. It drives the conversation. It may not be the king with MAGA conservatives like you and me, but it is the king when it comes to lawmakers. It is the king when it comes to setting the agenda. See, Tucker Carlson, when he was on Fox News, could literally set the agenda. He could set the priorities of the Republican Party. It's why I called him next to President Trump, the de facto leader of the Republican Party, because just his program on Fox News could set that agenda. He could get them talking about things we wanted them to talk about. He doesn't have that now. Whether you like it, believe it, whatever, his show on Twitter, I know it gets a lot of views. I know he makes millions of dollars off it, and that's important. But he does not have the ability to set the agenda. I'm wondering when I see things like this, going after a guy like Ted Cruz, playing gotcha, which I don't like that game at all. I would have said I don't take quizzes. What is Tucker Carlson's motivations? I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and comment. If you have comments, I'm open to it. Because, again, I have great respect for Tucker Carlson. I think he's a very, very smart guy. One of the smartest men in our party, for sure. All right, let me tell you, and then I'm going to play another clip of that interview with you, for you, to get to the heart of what I'm talking about here. But before I do that, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. 972-PATRIOT is the number. I have a mobile phone. Patriot Mobile is the service provider for this iPhone. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That is the place to go. America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You can upgrade your phone. You can get a new phone. You can get two numbers on one phone with two separate networks. Fabulous. You know that when you put your money with Patriot Mobile, they're going to be supporting causes we believe in. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That's PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Or call them at 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month's service. Okay, that's promo code GRANT. 972-PATRIOT. You tell them that I sent you. All right. So Tucker and Ted Cruz continued. And I feel like they're arguing about things that don't matter when it comes to the big picture of these things. Quadruple Z, Grant, you are one of the best. I appreciate that, buddy. CFAM, everyone, Grant Stinchfield is awesome. Thank you. Those make my day. Gotcha game is no good. No, it's not. From the YouTube chat, where is everyone? YouTube shadow much? Yes, I am shadow banned on YouTube. It's no surprise. Thank you for finding me there. All right. Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz.
Does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us, and I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do.
Do you like it? Of course no one likes being spied upon. But here's the reality what Ted Cruz is getting at. We spy on them, they spy on us. We can't tell them don't spy on us because we're spying on them. And this is this wink and a nod, and everybody knows you got to double check and triple check, and you can trust only as much as you can verify, even with our allies. Okay, I promise you, the French, Great Britain, I promise you they're spying on us. And I also promise you we're spying on them. This is the great spy game, and it is what it is, okay? So you use people, you use countries to your advantage. We get intelligence from the Mossad. They get intelligence from us. Do we get all of their intelligence? No. Do they get all of our intelligence? No. And it is what it is. So why is he so focused on this?
I understand that. And
by the way,
I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know, hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming, I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest.
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
See, Tucker Carlson is focused on Israel here. Why is he making the same claim about Great Britain, France, Germany? I'm sure they're all spying on us. Everybody is spying on each other. So again, it is the idea that Ted Cruz says, look, we don't live in utopia. We understand what it is. How am I going to tell them don't spy on us when we literally have spies in your country spying on you? But why were you going after Ted Cruz? The only reason I can think you'd go after Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz doesn't want endless wars. Ted Cruz is not a neocon like Lindsey Graham is. I know that. I know Ted Cruz personally. I've known him from when he was running for Senate. It was the same year that I was running for Congress in Texas. I lost. He won. God bless him. But I know this man. I've listened to him for years. He's not a neocon. That's not what Ted Cruz is. So President Trump, well, he had something to say about Ted Cruz. Excuse me, about Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson criticizing you, saying that you were complicit in the war.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen.
And quickly, have you spoken to Zelensky before your bylaws?
Let him go get a television network. So here's the thing. There is power with those major eyeballs in a mainstream way. I will also say it is changing, okay? The landscape of cable is changing. I give it 3 to 5 more years. It's not going to be like that. The Real America voices of the world, okay? There's not many of us, but Real America's voice will be an equivalent to Fox News, CNN, MSNBC on a level where they're writing about us. Right now, the mainstream media wants to ignore outlets like The Blaze, Real America's Voice, One America News. They look at them as fringe outlets. It's only fringe to them because we don't fit the model of a cable news network. That model is dying. People are cutting the cord. You don't need it. But right now, President Trump is right. Tucker Carlson doesn't have the power he had when he was on Fox News. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but it is true. Ted Cruz responded to all of this.
Well, listen, President Trump throughout this conflict has been fantastic. I spoke to the president on Sunday and just told him, I said, your leadership has been so critical on this. And he made clear Iran is not getting a nuclear weapon, and he is standing with Israel. I believe our position should be we stand unequivocally with the state of Israel. And I'll make a point. Israel is doing an enormous favor to the United States right now. I believe the most acute near-term security threat facing America is the threat of a nuclear Iran, because the Ayatollah is a religious nutcase. He is a theocratic mass murderer. And when he chants death to America and death to Israel, he does so in front of mobs of people.
Yes, he does. And why would we not believe him when he says death to America? Of course they mean it. Of course they do. So I did an interview with Rabbi Michael Barclay. He's out in Los Angeles, big conservative. Great guy. We did it on the radio. I want to run some of it because he gets to the heart of what we face, what Israel faces with a lot of this. So take a listen. You know, Jen, I am so proud of what Israel has been doing over the weekend. The United States helped in to take out some of these missiles as well that Iran was firing back at Israel. But when you look at the intelligence factor of the setup job against Israel, of Israel to take out these Iranian leadership, my Lord, it is really amazing to hear how this is all played out. Israel is not a country to be tussled with, and Iran is going to learn that very, very quickly as they are right now.
Well, I think we can pray that it will be quick. Israel says it hit command centers of a powerful Iranian military unit. A man who has been up into the wee hours trying to follow all of this is our friend, Rabbi Michael Barclay. He's got an incredible newsletter, guys, and he's an incredible person. RabbiMichaelBarclay.com is where you can find him. He's with us this morning. Rabbi, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Oh, no, thank you guys. And thank you for everything that you do. It's really fabulous and wonderful.
Well, let's talk about what's the latest going on. You can give us your assessment of that, but also the latest ask from Israel for the United States to join this war against Iran. What do you think the possibilities are of that? What's the situation this morning as people are waking up?
I think to start with that piece, I think the U.S. is going to be a little bit more involved. They have been involved over the last 72 hours with helping take down the Iranian missiles, the Iranian rockets, and the drones. Last night, I want to say around 4 o'clock in the morning, our time, the Iranian parliament actually voted to start a bill that would pull them out of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. That the fact that they're actually going down that road the U.S. is now moving a lot of aircraft to Germany. They're moving a second aircraft carrier to join the Vincennes in the Mediterranean. Britain is sending our aircraft carrier. I think that everyone's going to get a little bit more involved now because they need to. They've realized, the fact that Iran would officially pull out says volumes. So I think we're going to get more involved.
President Trump, I think, was deliberately giving peace a chance here. It came out that he says, no, do not go after the Ayatollah. We've got talks. We're sending them a message. We'll get close to peace here. Talks are underway. He deliberately was sending that message to the world, I believe, that, hey, we're going to give this a try. Iran is not going to respond to that. And I think President Trump knows that. But I think he was publicly offering that up to the world so these world leaders would see that we gave them every chance. President Trump had one Truth Social post that I think said it all. He says, America has the most powerful military equipment on earth, and Israel has a lot of it. He was telling Iran, there's going to be nothing left of you if you don't come to the table. But Rabbi, I'm curious of your thoughts. I don't think Iran comes to the table. I think this ends very badly for Iran, and I think the world will be a safer place 2 weeks from now.
I agree with you totally, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 days, or 4 weeks. People need to understand that it's not like negotiating with another country. It's not like negotiating with someone who also wants peace and prosperity. They are not, and I shouldn't say they, the Iranian people are actually beginning the process of revolting, but the Ayatollah and the clerics who run this and the Revolutionary Guard, they're not interested in peace. Their theology is based on the Quran and the Hadiths, and the Quran and the Hadiths are very, very clear. Those are documents that are less spiritual documents, and they're more about world domination. And they worship death. We worship life. You can't negotiate with someone who, when they come to the table, says, well, I want you dead, and let's start there. Mm-hmm. And I think Trump, I find it ironic how many people view him as a warmonger when this man is so committed to peace through diplomacy as opposed to military might. And he really was giving Iran the chance to say, okay, you can see what Israel can do in one day. Come back to the table. And that's not at all where the Iranian regime has any desire to go.
Well, and I would think also we have to underscore that they are ruled by an ideology that says they are going to get glory from their God for killing the West, for killing Jews, for killing Americans. It's very hard to negotiate with that. But you brought up the people of Iran, Rabbi, and I think that's important. I think these messages from President Trump are not just talking to other world leaders, as Grant suggested, but also directly to the Iranian people who have access to this stuff. And does that help them? I mean, you mentioned that maybe they're getting close to a revolt. I mean, we've been hearing this about the Iranian people for a long time, that their ideals are not lining up with their leadership. Where is that?
So it's really important to understand that the Iranian people are subjects of the Iranian Guard and the military, and they don't have weapons. They don't have those kind of choices. But look at the language of the last 3 days. In almost every one of Bibi Netanyahu's speeches, he has been saying, Iranian people, we are with you. We want to be a productive neighbor with you, things like that. So one of the procedures or policies of Israel that's been very effective in the past, it was effective with Beirut at one point, is the idea that you destroy not just the military infrastructure, but the economic infrastructure. And it gets to a point where the people will revolt and take out that regime. And that's the methodology that I think they're also using. They've lit up 2 different oil fields and refineries, just small fires, just to show that they can. They control the air over Iran. There's no question about it. They truly control it. And they can go in and in one day destroy all of the economics and make that country collapse economically.
You know,
the leaders of Iran recognize that, which is why they're making now threats that they want to step out of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, while they're saying that we may close the Straits of Hormuz, because they realize that Israel really can do a tremendous amount of damage to the economy, which would then inspire the people to even feel more comfortable revolting against the leaders.
So I would just offer up some caution and some insight from the past. We thought the people of Iraq would do the same thing. We thought people of Afghanistan would do the same thing. There are some countries that just cannot handle freedom. I hate to say that, but there are some people that do not have the intestinal fortitude. It takes exceptional people to handle freedom. America is exceptional. Israel is exceptional. I'll even give you have some European nations that are exceptional. They can handle freedom. Many of these Middle Eastern countries, these people cannot handle freedom. And to think that they're going to rise up in the name of capitalism and democracy and set their people free when for thousands of years they have not been ruled that way, I think maybe a tad naive. Not that I'm saying you're naive, Rabbi, at all. But I think we really have to have some caution that I think this is a matter of we're going to have to wipe this leadership out and make sure they never get a nuclear bomb. And if you get another dictator that comes in, then another dictator comes in. But they're never going to have the ability to hurt us, Rabbi.
You're 100% right. And you're also right about your caution, because we don't want to look at this in a Pollyannic way. The key is we got to get the Islamic leadership out of control of Iran. And if you look at these countries that also don't accept freedom so well, they are Islamic countries. Has to do with, again, the theology of the Quran, which is really not a theology. It's a process for world domination. So you're 100% right about that. The fact that they may rise up and get rid of the Ayatollah does not mean they're not going to have a dictator. They probably will. The question becomes, is it one who is ideological like the Ayatollah, or is it one who's just a corrupt dictator, which we can handle a little bit better? But we got to get the Ayatollah out of there. We got to get the leadership out of there, the regime out of there. And most importantly, right now, we have to make sure that Iran does not get nuclear weaponry. I don't know if you're aware or not that Saturday, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, forgive me for the time running together, Pakistan came out and said, we are Iran's allies. 5 minutes later, India said, well, if you're going to be Iran's allies, we're Israel's allies. And an hour later, Pakistan said, well, if it gets really bad, we'll give nuclear weapons to Iran.
Wow.
About 7:30 our time this morning, the Russian foreign minister said that Iran has the right to defend itself, which is very disconcerting as well. So there's a lot to be done, and Israel's doing it very carefully. They're doing it very proactively. They're doing it very smartly, and they're doing it at great cost to themselves. I mean, people are dying. I think we've got about 24 people who've died at this point. Hundreds are wounded. But Israel is taking this a step at a time in a very, very smart way. Yeah. You mentioned the fact that the Mossad had been planning for well over a year. They had established a base inside Iran. So when this happened, they already had drones that were able to come up and take out all of these Iranian surface-to-air missiles. Well, and at this point, we've taken out a third of the surface-to-surface launchers as well.
It's amazing to watch. they're going to be tremendously debilitated. Rabbi, your insight is so greatly appreciated.
Yep.
And of course, we appreciate you coming on as we run over just a little bit here, but it's well worth it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
important conversation. Rabbi Michael Barkley, thank you so much. Sign up, get his newsletter delivered to you. Really important stuff. RabbiMichaelBarkley.com. And hopefully, Rabbi, I know you're busy tomorrow, but we'll get you on later this week for another update if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. I'm always here for you guys. You guys are truly doing God's work. You're truly doing everything so beautifully and so good for this world, and it's appreciated.
So that's why we have him on, because he throws compliments around like that. I want to appreciate and want to thank the Rabbi for coming on the radio program there. For all of you listening, you can watch us on Rumble too, The Morning Answer. It's a pretty decent show. Jen Horn, my co-host, and I, we have a lot of fun. Just type in The Morning Answer, and that's a 3-hour program, and we go through a lot of the news of the day. It is good stuff. So we'll continue to follow this. I guess my end comment to everybody out there is the MAGA Republicans that think we're going to be in an endless war or World War III just need to slow their roll and trust President Trump, stand with President Trump, and let him do his thing. And we're all going to be a lot safer for it. Folks, have you heard about my friends over at energizedhealth.com? They have a new program out called the My 555 Challenge. And I got to talk to the founder about the My 555 Challenge. I wanted you to hear some of it. John Jubilee, welcome to the program.
Hey, Grant, great to be here.
Oh, it's great to see you. So my555challenge.com again. So many people say so many great things about this. I love you're doing it again.
Well, it's probably the funnest thing, Grant, that Chelsea and I get to do, with our clients because it's so relaxing. It's less than an hour a day. We spend 5 days, just like having a long cup of coffee with somebody for the price of a cup of coffee, by the way. It's $5. But we love this, Grant, because we get to share with people, hey, how do you actually take the right steps to get healthy? And then the really fun thing is we get to share with them the 5 things to never do again. Grant, we've all made the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again because we've all heard the same wrong information for our whole life. And so, my story. I did the wrong things for at least 10 years of my life before I found this. So we love sharing with people, look, come and learn the 5 things to never do again so that you never fail again.
Yeah, those things, the mistakes that people make can be the biggest killer, can't they?
Well, it really is. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. So number one is we need to not do the wrong thing. And number 2, then we need to do the right thing. So it's like when you go on a trip, it's like, don't take the wrong directions.
Right.
But you still have to know the right directions. You have to know both.
All right. So it's 5 pounds in 5 days for just $5. I love the $5 because it actually holds you accountable. You don't need a lot of money to hold somebody accountable. When I ran for Congress, if I could get a $10 donation from stopping somebody at just at the door and talking to them, now they had skin in the game. And it's amazing. It doesn't have to be a lot of money to get skin in the game, but that $5 holds you accountable. Is that the reasoning behind it?
You know what? It really is, Grant. Obviously, $5 is not going to make or break any company, but we know there's a biblical principle to that Jesus said, where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. So wherever we put our money, then our heart follows. We are invested and we're going to give it some effort. And so we want people to invest in themselves. I mean, think about what we're doing. We're really getting, you that are hearing my voice, we're helping you to value yourself. We're helping you to value your health. So we want you to value you. We want you to value your health, your future, your life. And so encouragement is right here. We're serving it up today and saying, listen, invest $5 in yourself. Come and join us.
Well, as everybody knows, I've talked about you guys for a lot. You changed my life around. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. I've kept it off. I feel healthier. My head is clearer. But if people don't want to take it from me or the hundreds of testimonials you have on the website, let me play a little clip for you. This we aired on the Stinchfield Tonight Show the other night, but take a look.
I feel amazing. I talked to you on my 555. I had the asthma. My lungs were dehydrated. I don't even think about using my inhaler anymore. It is absolutely wonderful.
Let's go.
My metabolic age, okay? I'm back in my 40s. And menopause. Like, what happened to menopause, right? My hot flashes are like, is that a hot flash? I don't know. First, I gotta tell you something first before you go. Can you see that?
Oh, let's go.
Love it. Gonna keep doing it. I can't stop talking about energized health.
So that's the my555challenge.com. She's talking about asthma. John, we talk about intracellular hydration all the time and getting hydrated from a cellular level, but I'm just amazed every time you come on. There's something new that it seems like somebody is getting help with from getting hydrated at a cellular level.
Well, Grant, this lady, what she was sharing was she spent $5. She came on a 555 challenge, and she asked the question. She joined the VIP group, which you have an opportunity to ask personal questions in the VIP group, and I'd recommend everybody do that. And in the VIP group, she said, can this help me with my asthma? She said, I have to use an inhaler all the time. And I said, absolutely. I said, the root cause of asthma is a dehydrated lung and bronchial system. I said, that's just dehydration. We put hydration in there. I said, you'll be fine. And there she is now then sharing, because she invested, in herself. She came to a 555. She went in the VIP. She decided to join the 88-day. And guess what? No more inhalers. And ladies, any of you ladies that are in menopause, you know how big that is. What she's talking about. Grant, we don't know as men, but for women, when they're having these crazy hot flashes in menopause, man, that's like being put in a torture chamber. Of these women feel like they're lit up on fire, and they call it a hot flash, but it literally is like they feel like they're on fire. And what did she say? She said, guess what? What's a hot flash? Because even her symptoms of menopause went away so that she could go through menopause in a soft and a gentle way instead of that harsh way that most women go through menopause.
Wow. It's amazing. So you talk about helping ladies with menopause. You talk about asthma. I've experienced joint pain has started to go away when I got hydrated at a cellular level. Your head gets clearer. Your energy goes up. So if people want to try this, the website right there on your screen under John's name, the my555challenge.com. 5 days, $5, 5 pounds. And John, lastly, that's guaranteed, isn't it?
Hey, come on. This is going to be gone out of the body, 100% guaranteed. That's 5 pounds of fat right there, guys. And listen, the biggest thing though is your energy. Your energy goes through the roof. Your energy will go through the roof. You can get rid of your joint pain. Come and join us, guys. Make a small investment in yourself. Put some treasure in you so you can have your best health.
I don't know why anybody would hesitate on this. The my555challenge.com. That's my555challenge.com. John Jubilee, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so go check them out. I lost 15 pounds, like I said, in 2 weeks. They're great over there. By the way, did you see this? This is the mayor of Chicago. What an a-hole.
Much like we fought for civil rights 60 years ago, we're going to continue to make sure that whether you are black, brown, Asian, white, young, old, working people deserve to be prioritized. And this misnomer that there's division, and consternation within communities solely based on this issue is just wrong. He's working to eliminate black history. He is trying to eliminate black existence from this country, but he's also attacking the LGBTQ plus
I wouldn't say he's trying to eliminate black existence.
We're going to bring people together in this country to make sure we build the safest, most affordable big city in America. Chicago is the place to be, and I'm looking forward to the work that we will continue to do to build the safest, most affordable.
Well, somebody needs to shut him up. She tried. He literally tried to claim to you that President Trump is eliminating black existence in the country when his poll numbers among blacks and Hispanics continue to rise. The Democrats are in free fall. They do not know what to do as President Trump's numbers continue to skyrocket. You know this woman.
And look, what's going to happen here is that we're going to find that milk gets a lot higher, because I don't know if any of you have ever been in a dairy farm. It is god-awful work.
She's saying that if all the farm workers are deported, the price of everything is going to go up. Well, you would think that would happen. Here's what's interesting. Wages have gone up 0.4% since President Trump has taken over office. That may be a part of the deportations. Wages go up a little bit because companies have to pay more to fill the ranks of the illegals. But here's the thing. Inflation has not. We have not seen the increase in prices. We just aren't seeing it. So this Ana Navarro is wrong here.
We're going to see that groceries and vegetables are higher. We're going to see an effect in our economy, because whether people like it or not, whether Americans acknowledge it or not, undocumented immigrants are an integral part of our society and our economy. And we're going to have to get used to seeing the videos of U.S. citizens detained, of U.S. citizen children being ripped from the arms of their mothers and while they wail, of, you know, dads and moms and business owners. Yeah, we're going to have to get used to it.
You don't have to get used to it because we haven't seen it. You've told us about it, but we're not seeing it. They are lying to you when they are telling you that they're just going to everyday, I say everyday illegals, they're still here illegally, and ripping them away from their families. They're going from the worst of the worst offenders. And let me tell you something. If, God forbid, I was an idiot enough to drive drunk with my child in the back of my car, and I got pulled over and they hauled me off to jail because I was driving drunk with a kid in the car, I'm being ripped away from my child. My child would probably be crying. It's on me. I was the one who would have made that decision if that happened. Just as these illegal aliens are the ones who are making the decisions to come here illegally. Now, deportations have skyrocketed. Self-deportations have skyrocketed. Over 1 million self-deportations since President Trump took office. Think about this. 1 million self-deportations. Now, we probably have 20 million illegals in here. But we're going to be able, considering we continue to incentivize the self-deportation, we can have them self-deportate themselves quicker than we can round all them up. So 1 million self-deportations is pretty darn stout. And that's because President Trump used this CBP-1 app that was used to make an end run around the immigration system. He flipped it and used it as a self-deportation tool. Now you go in there, you sign up to self-deportate yourself, you get $1,000 as opposed to the $17,000 it would cost us to go find you. You get $1,000, plane ticket home, and you're out of here, and you can reapply to come in. Why wouldn't you do that? And I'm going to offer this up. I believe the No Kings rallies, the riots in L.A. and Seattle and Atlanta and all the other cities where they're going hog wild over President Trump's deportation plan. This is scaring the illegals more than it's scaring American citizens. The illegals that are watching this are saying, oh my gosh, I better self-deport my ass out of here. And that's what's happening. And that's a good thing. And that's the brilliance of President Trump. Real quick, folks, here's another brilliance. Make sure you get one of these. This is a wellness company emergency medical kit, okay? TWC.health/grant. TWC.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. You've got all kinds of prescription medications in here, 8 of them, in fact, including ivermectin. I've got one of those field kits, which is huge. There's an EpiPen in there. You can't go wrong with that. And then remember, I've told you about what I'm really concerned about are the parasites. And they are thriving in Americans, okay? 60 million Americans may have parasites. Look at that in the salmon. That's gross. You want them out of your body. You can get it from drinking water. They cause cancer. They cause skin lesions. They cause liver disease. They cause brain fog. Well, the wellness company now has a parasite cleanse out there, mebendazole and ivermectin that works like you've never seen. Sold out 3 times because it is so good to get your health back. So go to twc.health/grant. Look for that parasite cleanse, and they'll get you set up, and you're going to take your life back, and you're going to feel better about it. twc.health/grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. Folks, that's going to do it for us. No Real America's Voice show tonight. We've got a Birch Gold special that's taking our place. I'll be there just in case there's some breaking news going down, but then we'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry about the Stinchfield show tonight. We'll get a quick break, but we'll be following all this. Check out my social media, Stinchfield 1776 on just about every platform. I'll be keeping you updated what's going on with Iran and the big, beautiful bill and immigration and all these situations that we have to keep our eye on. God bless all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.